name is Crystal Edwards, and I stayed here at the KCEOC shelter not once but twice. And I'd like to share a little bit of my life lessons with you all. I'd first like to thank the Lord and everyone here associated with KCEOC who has given me this opportunity to share my life lessons and circumstances. I'm not standing here before you to rattle off a bunch of statistics that you all are already aware of. I'm standing here as one of those statistics. I'm a living, breathing person who went from being a high school homecoming queen to a homeless in a matter of 10 years. I'm living proof that anyone, anywhere, no matter their education or social standing, can become homeless. I can't begin to tell my story without giving some background information on the first 24 years of my life. I was an only child to a disabled father and a mother who worked the night shift at ACS in London to make ends meet. I was a straight-A student through elementary and high school, where I graduated 5th in my class from Lincoln High School. I maintained a steady 3.7 grade point average while pursuing a degree in journalism at Union College. I'd always had an interest in being a reporter, and I got that chance at the age of 19 when I was the youngest person ever to start work at the Times Tribune, which is a newspaper in Portland. I continued going to college, and I began to work at the Barberville Mountain Advocate. For 5 years of my adult life, I was what you would call a professional working woman, covering elections, wrecks, murders, and social stories. A week barely went by that I didn't have a front page story. I even covered the opening of the women's shelter here at KCEOC, a place that only years later I will call home not once but twice, as I've said before. My story is no different than millions of others who come from good backgrounds and social standings to suddenly find themselves homeless and starving. I also have something else in common with thousands of them. I have a mental illness, and I was a drug addict for almost 9 years. My addiction took almost everything away from me. It ruined my relationship with my mother to a point that she refused to let me live with her, and as she will admit, didn't really enjoy the thought of seeing me at all. It caused me to sell, pawn, or trade everything that I worked so hard for just to get that next high. One of my biggest regrets is selling a 2.5-acre lot with a double-wide trailer on it that I'd inherited from my father, who I loved with all my heart after he passed away. After I let my fascination with drugs get to the point that no one would hire me, trust me, or allow me to live with them, I started living in cars, trailers without electric or heat, places that had no running water, anywhere I could find a place to bed down for the night. I remember times when I had no food for days at a time, nothing to drink but water, and the thought of a home-cooked meal was as foreign to me as how to solve an algebraic equation. Then I met my fiancé about 2 years ago, and I became pregnant. We both worked odd jobs and moved out of this area to raise our daughter, Sierra, who is now almost 18 months old. I had a stable roof over my head for 9 months, but not long after she was born, I started using drugs again. She was removed from my custody at only 6 weeks old. Then my trouble with the police started. I was arrested 3 times in a matter of a year for various offenses, all relating to drugs. All the while, I desired a life change. So I started going to shelters. No one knows how hard it is to fill out an application for a job, and when they ask you for an address, you don't have one to give them. After years of being at the top of my game, I had finally reached rock bottom. When I finally ended up at the KCEOC Women's Shelter, I was amazed at Dolores' kindness. She helped me find work at a local factory in a house in Gray that United Effort was going to help me rent until I got on my feet. I was scheduled to move in within a week, but after years of lying about my addiction and taking the wrong road, I once again faltered. It was May 15th of 2006 when everything came crashing down. I was arrested for possession and DUI and lodged in jail. I had to appear in handcuffs in front of the same judge that I used to interview when I was a working reporter. Talk about a blow to one's ego. After spending 17 days in jail, I decided it was time to change my life once and for all. It was now or never. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. Tired of not having a place to call home. Tired of not having my daughter by my side. And most of all, tired of the drugs. Knox County Attorney Charlie Green Dixon, along with members of the Knox County Drug Court team, including case specialist David McAdams, allowed me to enter their program. While I will forever believe the disease of addiction is the driving force behind my bout with homelessness and hunger, I know that God is the driving force behind my recovery. I rededicated my life to God when I was in jail, and I'm proud to say that I'm standing here now, sober for almost 10 months, with 2 jobs and an apartment. The good people at Best Western in Barberville gave me a shot when no one else would. And I also started working back at the Barberville Mountain Advocate as a typist and sometimes reporter. It's not the position I'm used to, but I'm slowly working my way up. I was also blessed to cover the sheriff's race for the election, so I once again got to see my name on the front page. And most importantly, custody of my daughter, Miss Sierra Page, was returned to me in October. I now live in an apartment with Steve and Trace with my mother and daughter, and I'm expecting another child with my fiancé, and he's a boy, Aiden Dwayne. If you're homeless right now or you deal with people who are on a daily basis, I would have to say, as someone who's been both professional and homeless, the most important thing is to always be encouraging. People who are homeless are just that, people. They are no different than you and I. They've had some bad life circumstances or made some bad decisions in the past, but I'm living proof it can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time. My road was a long and winding one, and I wouldn't wish my past on anyone, but I hope the lessons that I've learned will keep my children and others' children from going down the same path. I hope to go back to college and become a drug counselor and educator someday. I thank you again for opening your minds and hearts to my story, and in some way I hope it helps to fight and understand the epidemic of homelessness a little better.